and welcome to Weekend Review. It's another weekend and my name is Martia Umar. On Weekend Review, we take a look at some headlines that made a big event during the week. And in case you missed it, this is an opportunity for you to catch up. We'll start with political matters. It's pre-election year, it's 2022, and of course, political matters will be making the rounds. We'll start with this one, where stakeholders in Nigeria's politics say that monetization of the nation's electoral and leadership recruitment processes are part of the challenges undermining the desire for credible governance in the country. And they also underscored the imperatives of addressing the challenges through a paradigm shift to selfless service and patriotic zeal as cardinal principle for political aspirations. Shafiu Suleiman has more.
From the expression of interest and nomination forms to run for a political office, which cost 2.5 million naira, to the purchase of nomination form pegged at 20 million naira in the ruling party for the forthcoming governorship election in Ekiti State. A governorship aspirant in Nigeria will have to contend with huge cost of mobilizing the electorates and providing logistics to campaign machinery after securing a political party's ticket.
If you want to be a governor, you need at least 5 billion. So if you want to be the president, I and my colleagues and friends have argued that at least you need about 20 billion to start with. And so if you put this into context, it means that what you're doing is you're seeing public office as a business venture.
In abroad, in the US and elsewhere, people start campaign to what they call aspiration committee. They go to the people. I want to run for governor and I want to bring something new. Maybe we're talking today about inflation. We're talking today about insecurity in the northeast and kidnapping and crime everywhere.
To contend with the huge spendings essential to buying for electoral office, political aspirants and candidates now resort to deploying all means of securing fund, legitimate or otherwise, to grab leadership slots. This situation makes them to engage in recouping their investments at all costs immediately on assumption of office.
It's going to create a sense in which no truly decent, poor, so to say, middle-class Nigerian professional without the support of money bags or who has not stolen money.
In a country where there are set down rules, there are constitutional provision, but then the rule of law is not respected, it means everything goes.
Despite the existing laws in the nation's constitution and the Electoral Act, in addition to the regulatory roles of INEC and EFCC in tracking political campaign spendings, the atmosphere remained volatile.
The heart of Nigerian corruption is actually Nigerian politics. Because the politics creates incentive for stealing, for dealing with criminals, because you need to raise the fund to run an election.
INEC and EFCC must compel political party and candidates to publish or submit their expenditure, their campaign expenditure.
They suggest the need to address the gaps through implementation of the existing laws to guard against excessive monetization of the polity by addressing the impact of poverty and deepening accountability for effective democratization of the leadership recruitment process. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And away from electoral matters, police in Imo State have raided a camp suspected to be an operational base of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and its militant wing, Eastern Security Network, ESN, and killing one bandit on the process. The police public relations officer, CSP Mike Abatam, who confirmed this, said that the camp is located at Mbise local government area of the state. And he added that the hoodlums on site and the police operators opened fire on them while the police operators swiftly returned the fire and in the fierce gun battle killed one of the hoodlums while others scampered into the adjoining bushes, fatally injured with gunshot injuries. Some of the items recovered include one AK-47 rifle with 40 rounds of live ammunition, 10 locally fabricated explosive devices, 1 police hand grenade, 2 Toyota Highlander, 1 Lexus 350 SUV without registration number, among others. And moving on to Judicial Matters at the Chief Magistrates Court 1 Gusau, Justice Garba Saadu has sentenced a 46-year-old man, Chukwu Kajud, to 6 months imprisonment on the first count charge with the option of fine of 50,000 naira and 1 year imprisonment without option of fine. And Justice Saadu Garba sentenced the accused person following arrest of the suspected fake lawyer, and he pleaded guilty to the charges and asked the court to show mercy and leniency by considering the option of fine on him. The report.
Police in Zamfara State charged the fake lawyer Chukwu Kajud, Aminu Baba and 4 others to Chief Magistrate Court 1 Gusau for prosecution. Aminu Baba, the 57-year-old who was arrested for cannibalism and dealing in human parts with 4 other persons, and Chukwu Kajud, 46-year-old, arrested for parading himself as a lawyer at the higher Sharia court Tudunwada in Gusau Metropolis. Jude cried out that remanding him to a correctional facility will put his family under serious difficulties as he is the only breadwinner. The suspected fake lawyer, Chukwu Kajud, 46-year-old, claimed that he had lost everything, including his business, to 2 fire incidents and has 7 children and 4 are minors, while the 3 have no gainful employment, which they can support the family to survive the hardship it is facing. Counsel to the suspected fake lawyer, Joseph Eze, said his client is arraigned in court on 2 counts charges of impersonation and cheating.
Yes, my client, the convict, Chukwu Kajud, personated a legal practitioner. That is to say, he claimed to be a legal practitioner, and indeed tried to practice in a court, the Sharia court here, when he was discovered, or rather caught, by one of our colleagues, and he was investigated and found not to be a lawyer as he claimed. Today, that happened on the 18th of this month, 18th of January 2022. Today, he's been arraigned, and there was summary trial because he admitted the content of the FIR. There are 2 counts. One of personating a lawyer, the other is cheating by personation.
Meanwhile, 5 suspects who were arraigned at the Zamfara State's Chief Magistrate Court by the Nigeria Police on 3 counts charges bordering on criminal conspiracy, culpable homicide and cannibalism offences, which are contrary to sections 97, 222 and 218 of the Penal Code law. The presiding judge, Justice Saadu Garba, directed that the 2nd and 3rd suspects, who are below 18 years, Abdullahi Buba, 17, and Ahmed Tukur, 14 years old, to be remanded to a remand home, while the 1st, Abdul Shakur Tukur, 4th, Aminu Baba, and 5th, Noura Usman, were remanded to correctional centers. The matter has been adjourned to February the 3rd, 2022, pending the conclusion of the police investigation. The police public relations officer, Superintendent Muhammad Shehu, spoke on the rationale of the prompt arraignment of the 6 suspects at the Magistrate Court 1 in Gusau, the Zamfara State capital.
No, we told you he confessed to have contracted this boy for 3 times. So meaning that this is not the first time he has been committing this crime. It means he has been in this act for some time. Are you getting me? Since he did it for the first time, the second time, and the 3rd time, he was finally arrested. We have been charging them to court. We, the police, as a law enforcement agency, and also a lead security in internal security, we cannot compromise whatever that would breach the peace and the tranquility of this country. So we have been charging all the suspects that we have been arresting for heinous crime to court. But this is part of the strategy to keep members of the public well informed on the activities of the police and the outcome of our activities. So, inshallah, we will keep on doing this to ensure that the members of the public are well informed on the outcome of whatever we are doing, as we have been doing for the press briefing, to call members of the press and brief them on the successes achieved.
The police were asked about the suspected bandits and their collaborators, whether they had been charged to court for prosecution. The police image maker in the state, Superintendent Mohammed Shehu, said police had charged all the suspects to court for prosecution.
And another highlight of the week is the National Assembly passing the harmonized version of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, which includes provision which clearly defines the mode of primaries for political parties. And consensus mode of primaries is one of the three options introduced in the re-amended Electoral Act Amendment Bill, which the Senate passed on January 9.
While the House passed the mode of primaries to include direct and indirect only, the Senate passed the direct, indirect, and the consensus mode of primaries. Presiding over a plenary, the Senate President Ahmed Lawan said both chambers have agreed to give a clear and sufficient definition for each mode of primaries and how they will be conducted. Consequently, a clear definition of how a consensus candidate will emerge contained in the harmonized version.
We will recall that the Senate and the House passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill with slight difference. While the House passed the mode of primaries to be direct and indirect only, the Senate passed the mode of primaries to be direct, indirect, and consensus. What we have done is to give very clear and sufficient definition to each mode of primaries.
The harmonized version, passed by both chambers during Tuesday's plenary, is the final agreed version on the amendment to Clause 84 of the Electoral Bill. All things being equal, the Electoral Bill is now to be forwarded to President Muhammadu Buhari for assent into law.
And during the week before the strike was called off by the NLC, the strike to be embarked upon because of the removal of fuel subsidy. And now that the House of Representatives says that major steps have been taken in order to give direction on issues relating to fuel subsidy and state of refineries in Nigeria. House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila at the commencement of plenary on Wednesday set up two ad hoc committees to conduct investigations on the matter. The two committees are mandated to separately determine daily consumption of premium motor spirit to PMS in Nigeria and the current state of refineries, including how much it will cost them running at a maximum capacity. The committees have 4 weeks to conclude the assignment.
To figure out exactly what we're consuming in Nigeria. Because it's only after you figure out what is consumed that you can even begin to talk about whether you should have full subsidy or not. That's number one. Number two, we need to also investigate thoroughly the state of our four refineries, the state of repair or disrepair, and what exactly it will cost to have them functional. So this House is now saddled with the responsibility of one, determining how much consumption or how much fuel we consume on a daily basis, and not relying on some phantom figure. It's going to be painstaking and it's going to be thorough. Two, what exactly is the state of our refineries and what do we need to bring our refineries back into maximum use? Those two things have to be determined before we even get to the issue of full subsidy. So I will set up a very tight ad hoc committee of 12 members for each of those two. One committee on the issue of how much we consume will be headed by Honorable Ablai Ningi. And on the issue of the state of the refineries, Engineer Johnson will chair that. The rest of the members of that committee will be announced before the close of business today.
And now to electoral matters ahead of the February 12 FCT Area Council elections. The Independent and National Electoral Commission, INEC, has promised a heat-free poll. And the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, stated this during a working visit to the FCT INEC office in Abuja. Just TV's Sagir Ibrahim has more details.
The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has assured FCT residents of a credible council election. The INEC chairman, who made the assurance during a walking visit to the FCT INEC office to ascertain the level of preparedness in respect to the forthcoming elections, explained that the headquarters has done its part to ensure that the February 12 council poll is hitch-free.
We have done everything that we are supposed to do in terms of preparations. What remains is for me to hear from you and to assure the voters in the Federal Capital Territory that we have set the standard for conducting credible elections in Nigeria. The FCT Area Council election 2022 will not lower the bar. If anything, you will see an enhanced conduct of credible elections in the Federal Capital.
Professor Yakubu also gave an update on the biometric voter accreditation system, BVAS, which will be deployed during the poll.
Just like previous elections, at least the last two, we are going to deploy the bimodal voter accreditation system for the election. And very soon, we'll finish configuration of the BVAS for all the polling units in the FCT by Friday. We have the requisite number of staff. We have trained them. We have the requisite number of RA technical support that will respond in the event of glitches on election day. We have made adequate transportation arrangements so that the RATEX will be able to move around on election day in case their services are required.
Also speaking was the FCT Resident Electoral Commissioner Yahaya Bello, who gave an update on voter registration and permanent voters card collection in the FCT.
A total number of PBCs collected for this election is 103,068, while uncollected is 265,866. In all the 5 area councils, the collection of the PBC is going on, and people are trooping in by the day to collect them, except for AMAC.
He also added that the Commission will work towards ensuring that the exercise commences at its stipulated time.
We believe that by the grace of God, we will be able to deploy before 8 a.m. On Saturday, an election to start by 8 a.m. and close 2:30. We have received almost 90% of all the non-sensitive materials that we require to conduct this election. Whatever is remain, I'm sure in the next 2 or 3 days, by Monday, we'll be able to reach almost, I don't want to say we have no perfect here in the FCT, but we'll reach 99%.
Sagir Ibrahim reporting for Trust TV.
And now to education. During the week, the primary school teachers in the Federal Capital Territory embarked on a strike pending arrears when the arrears will be paid by the area councils in the territory. And Chairman National Union of the Teachers Kubwa Chapter, Ame Baba, confirmed the strike action embarked upon by the teachers to Daily Trust and said the development is following a circular from the union earlier in the week. Baba stated that the area councils are owing their members a log of arrears that cut across a payment in promotion and minimum wage beginning from 2011. The NUT leader said part of the agreement to call off the previous strike last November is due to the intervention of the FCT Senator Philip Adura, who said that they would start implementing the demands immediately. Controversy over who has power to recruit policemen between the Police Service Commission and the Inspector General of Police has taken a new dimension as workers of the commission in Abuja staged a protest. The commission is empowered by law to recruit, promote and discipline police officers from the rank of ASP and above. The protesters in Abuja insisted that the power to recruit police from constable and above except Inspector General of Police lies with the commission. Trust TV's Nafisa Abdel Al has more details.
There has been arguments and counter-arguments between the Office of Inspector General of Police and Police Service Commission to recruit officers from Police Constable and above. Staff of the Police Service Commission are protesting the refusal of the management on board of Police Service Commission with the Nigerian Police Force to obey Court of Appeal judgment that enforced the power of the Commission to carry out oversight functions of the Nigerian Police Force, which are promotion, recruitment, discipline, and formulating policies for the smooth running of policing in Nigeria.
This is an issue that is coming back from history. We have had the police try to challenge the constitutional mandate of the Police Service Commission several times, and this had led to several issues while we try to do our constitutional mandate, landing us in court in 2019 while we were doing the recruitment exercise of that year. Now, the staff of the commission are trying to reach out to the world because the commission is a public place. Most importantly, we want the president to take note of what is happening in the commission. And like you hear them say, the issue is that we should be allowed to do our work because the justification for your earnings or your experience on the job always comes from your schedule. Now it seems like the Police Service Commission has no schedule because the schedule is being traded off by the chairman of the commission in favor of the Nigerian police.
The cause of our challenge now, which is why we are doing, is that the police authority have released program for the recruitment which Police Service Commission is supposed to do. And by that program, it is starting by Tuesday, but we, the staff or workers of Police Service Union, said no. They should cancel it and allow us to do our work.
The protesters say they will continue to convene and protest until their demands are met. Nafisa Abdel Al, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And the Federal High Court in Kaduna has granted bail to a journalist, Luka Biniat, charged with defamation of character and a sum of 1 million naira and 2 sureties. The report.
Luka Biniat, arrested last year and later arraigned before the court on defamation case instituted by Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security, Samuel Aruwan, has been in detention over a publication alleging genocide in southern Kaduna. The court on Thursday grants bail to the journalist. Counsel for Luka Biniat, Ahiz Emmanuel, says the bail is granted with certain conditions.
He was admitted to bail in the sum of 1 million naira with 2 sureties in the like sum. Both sureties must be resident in Kaduna State and must own properties covered by a statutory right of occupancy. Further, the judge ordered that the prosecution would verify the place of abode of the sureties, and the court also ordered that my client Luka Biniat complies with his deposition, the affidavit in support of his bail application, specifically that he would attend his trial. He would attend his trial and will not do anything that will compromise the administration of justice. So that is basically the summary of the terms for his bail.
Okay, if the bail conditions are not met, what will happen?
He will be remanded in prison custody pending when he satisfies the terms for his bail. He will be remanded in prison custody.
Luka Biniat has been in detention for 82 days, and his counsel says his client suffers a general systemic problem.
Luka just suffered what is generally a systemic problem. Like, the charges were filed in the first week of December. The presiding judge assigned it last week. We're even lucky to get today, although it came up for the first time on Monday. It has been a systemic problem. It's also an administrative problem.
The case is now adjourned to the 27th of February 2022.
And that ends Week in Review this week. Remember to join us next week for more highlights of events that happened during the week. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for watching.